I do want a rematch with City Tanit as well, because now I'm not with a dickheaded coach like great value Johnny Lawrence, ruining all the fighters that come through his door. So we'll see.
I love it.
that.
I love
That
the
analogy
tenacity.
there,
I
Rychel.
love
that
I
analogy.
love the attitude.
Want to fight about it?
Fight.
Want to fight about it?
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's season 2. We are well underway. Steven, you keep lining them up, and you're just knocking them down at the same time. I love this guest. This is one of my favorite guests that I've seen on the show. I am just absolutely excited to have this one on tonight. And what's really cool is like we are literally days away from a fight. She has a fight in just a couple days. You've known this fighter for a little bit, right?
She's totally gangster. You're gonna love her.
She's awesome. She's awesome. Everything I know about her, I'm excited to meet her. I'm excited for you
think
guys.
Think of her as like a mini Diaz brother. Just think of her like that. You never go wrong.
All right, so without further ado, originally from Philadelphia, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the Southpaw Outlaw. It is Serena DeJesus. Let's go. I am so excited for this. Serena, there she is. Welcome to Wanna Fight About It. We are just excited isn't even enough of a word about what we are to have you on the show tonight. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here too. So I love the little praises I get. Like everybody sees the glasses and stuff. They're like, "Oh, she can't fight." I'm like, "You want to bet? Let's go."
Check her record. Check the.
I'm so excited.
I got something on that later. Part of like your big story is the fact that you are a fighter with autism and you bring autism, you bring the awareness to the ring. If I'm not mistaken, you have Asperger's. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The reason I bring that up, I have a daughter. I have a 22-year-old daughter who also has Asperger's, and to see, I love everything that she can do, and for you to be able to do this, if we can do the first thing I want to do is this, and if it's okay, this is our normal background. If you can see it there, I'd like to change it to this. Are we cool with that?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Get the puzzles and get the autism puzzles in the background, because I just want this to I know you are a big proponent of it for obvious reasons, for my daughter and for her to be able to see folks like yourself and what you can do. It's inspiring to her. It's inspiring to me. And I just want to say thank you for taking a platform and being who you are and doing the things that you do. So that's my first thing I want to say is thank you for that. And just doing that. I do want to talk about it. I do want to talk about how you get from, and I think for most people in the fight community, your story is a well-known story. It's something, it is an inspirational one. It's one that people have heard, but for people new to the show, I want to briefly go over it because it wasn't easy. And if anybody knows anything about Asperger's, there are things that you have to battle, and you specifically, because of what affects you being a fighter, there's different aspects to it. So I'm going to let you tell that story because I want people to hear it. And I want to start it off with this because one of the coolest things I heard you say in previous interviews is that just because you meet someone with autism doesn't mean you met everyone with autism. It just means you met a person with autism. And I'm going to start from there because I think that's such just a fantastic thing to say and a fantastic way to put it.
Growing up autistic, undiagnosed, and then finally getting diagnosed, I was always treated as the other. And with the gaps in my life, measuring all of it up, I think I lost about 7 years collectively of my life to being institutionalized. Obviously not all at once, but bouncing in and out and just keeping on record, like how many overall the collective time. I've lost 7 years of my life. By the time I was fully out and I had all my socialization shit down, I was in middle school getting, and then at the tail end of middle school, and now I'm entering a whole new world where our hormones and shit are running wild. I'm just still nose deep in my books, caring about my studies, not really going on about what the fads and shit are. Always like, is it anime? Is it books? Is it fighting? If it's none of the above, I really didn't give a shit. Even now, like when I got diagnosed in the early 2000s, I would like to say 2004, I was diagnosed. This is the early 2000s. Nobody knew what autism was really. So, fast forward like almost a decade later, we now know what it is by name, but we still are struggling collectively at dealing with treating each autistic person as their own individual, because people realize it is a spectrum.
Read that you were very shy and kind of reserved as a young child. My daughter was very,
Yeah,
very intelligent, very outgoing, straight A's and stuff. And then it just started getting derailed.
same.
It started with math, and then it just started getting more. And it took a long time for her to get diagnosed. And she went through the whole thing as I imagined you did. Well, you're autistic. Well, okay, great. That doesn't do anything. What type of autism? And it took a long time before they finally narrowed everything down, started doing this treatment, that treatment. I mean, she just finally started smoking weed probably maybe a year and a half ago. So she's like 20 and a
Dude,
half,
it
almost
helps so much,
21.
believe it or not.
That's
And
what she said. She's 100%
oh my God.
about it. And then having
Yeah.
that focus, having that something to focus on. You had anime, you had the fighting to focus on. Hers is wrestling. I mean, she can literally tell you anything from any year, any time about wrestling. Like an encyclopedia. She's amazing like that.
That's
She
awesome.
can't, I can go like this and she can't add 1+1. She doesn't know. She can't, her brain just can't work
See,
that
that's
way.
the common misconception that all artists are like math wizards. It's like, oh fuck,
Right. Yeah.
if it's not about my money and taxes, I'm entirely useless for math. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just I can talk about the Great Schism with Christianity, the fall of the Roman Empire, I can all the history and shit in the world like that, anthropology, sociology, but like I'll chat
You
your
could
ear off
run
to all the
anime all day
that
because I've
too. Like
seen
I
you
can
do
run all the
it.
all the humanities and shit. I can cover like from A to B, and to the point where people like Serena just shut the fuck up. Or I'm like, okay, But yeah, math is just not my strong suit. I love science, but the math killed me. That was the only hindrance is the math. Like
Yeah.
biology, I
Same here.
rocked because there's no math in biology, but like I really enjoyed the fuck out of chemistry, specifically making alkali metals explode in water. But then gets the mathematical formulas. I'm like,
Imagine.
fuck.
But
Mhm.
you have to deal with some other things because of your
Oh,
autism in the ring. And I think
yeah.
but I love the way that you deal with it. So if you would, could you talk on that for a second about what you deal with
Okay.
your autism and deal with that stuff and still whoop people's ass in the ring at the same time?
The irony of everything is that bright lights and loud noises fuck with me,
So this
which
is the
is
perfect spot for
crazy.
you to be in the middle of a
Yeah, which
ring,
is
surrounded by
crazy
screaming
because,
fans and
yeah,
loud music. Yeah.
exactly. But it just gives me life. I guess because I hyper focus. I don't know. I'm punching someone's head in because it just brings me joy. I don't know. When I'm out of the cage, I got these lovely headphones on all the time because if I have just one source of noise to focus on, it helps to kind of reset. Um, I have transitions in this, so when I go out in the sun, my glasses go dark. So I'm looking
But
forward to
you do
playing
this
with
in the
some
ring too, correct? Like on your walk
in
up
the
while you're sitting in the
ring.
ring.
Yeah, in the ring, like when I'm backstage, I'm literally dancing. I'm dancing because I just can't stay still. I'm so excited. I can't stay still. So I'm dancing when I'm not hitting mitts with my crew and everything. And then when I get out there, it's just like, and I have
Mhm.
to make people understand, I have to use another neurological condition, epilepsy. There are some people with epilepsy who have hundreds of seizures a day. And then there's some people who have epilepsy who will have like maybe one seizure once in a while. It doesn't change the fact that they have epilepsy just because of the frequency and what have you. So it's the
Mhm.
same with autism. It's the same message I try to bring. And so I have to break it down in ways to understand because I don't know what it is lately, but we take a broad brush to everything lately and just paint, a certain topic, a certain race, a certain condition as it's this or that, which is
Mhm.
ironic. You're talking to the artist, which our stereotype is we're massively black and white thinkers supposedly, but you know, which was one of my struggles growing up, having to break down, learning the gray area of life. And
Mhm.
boy, in fighting, have I learned the gray area of life more through anything. So, but I want to, because growing up, I was treated always as the other, just
Mhm.
because if it wasn't happy, angry, or sad growing up, just right over my head. It didn't mean I didn't care. It's just like I literally, for whatever reason, didn't get the same communication manual that everybody else got. And it wasn't until I was properly diagnosed that I got the help I needed. Even then, some autistics who are diagnosed, they just don't because mental health care is still not quite caught up. But
Mhm.
the process to get diagnosed properly was a whole horror story in itself. So, kid of the 90s, right? ADHD was in the food we drank, in the food, the air, the water we drank. So, everybody my age was throwing on Adderall and Ritalin and all that shit. So, basically, like legalized meth and all that. So,
Mhm.
I got thrown a diagnosis and I got thrown on meds at the tender age of 4. And then rinse and repeat for years on end until I was 13 years old. But by that time, I had been through so many mental health institutions, from psych wards to residential treatment facilities. And I still have a lot of resentment, still a lot of pain in my soul from all that. So not only does fighting give me a place I feel I belong because all the fucking weirdos are in fighting, the good weirdos, obviously, but it's a detox for my soul every time I fight. All the indignance, all the pain I suffer, it comes out safely, happily, on someone
Mhm.
else's face without me going to prison. So everybody wins.
I've seen so much of about your love of anime, and I have a
Yes.
couple sons, 10, 11 years old. They're big into anime. I've got one, I don't know. I'm telling you, this kid knows more about anime than anybody I know except maybe you. And at 11 years old, he reads the books and he just knows it. It's awesome to see it. But so I want to ask you about
Yes.
the One Piece. Let's start there because you've done them all.
Okay.
You go all
No,
the
I have
way
not
back.
seen all of it. Oh my
No,
God.
no,
But I
not
know that.
One Piece. I mean all the animes. I mean, you go back to like Hellsing, you go
Yeah.
back. I mean, you've done them
Oh, even
all.
further.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
further. Like I'm probably the anime hipster, like, because I got in my first ever anime I watched. So first and foremost, because this also leads into how I got into fighting.
Yes.
My reward for behaving at school was to go to the video store with my dad and rent videos. So my first ever anime was Record of Lodoss War. So basically Japanese Dungeons and Dragons. And then
Okay.
I went from there to Ghost in the Shell and then Appleseed, and I was hooked. And I was also like a big nerd who loved playing Tekken. My favorite character, who I still main to this day, is King. As a little girl, I thought he was a leopard man. I thought he was cool as fuck. Maturity is realizing he's a luchador, but still is cool as fuck anyway. So, so because of my nerdiness, as I would rent my anime, my dad would be renting UFC because my dad was former infantry in the army. And it's so funny. He taught me of duality very early. Like he was in the army and everything, but to this, he's been an RN as long as I've been on this planet, and he's the most kind, gentle, silly RN you'll ever meet. So he taught me duality. I can be as nerdy as hell as I want and take care of kids, and I work helping the elderly, but I have no problem shoving my fist down someone's throat if it comes to it. No
This is
hesitation.
a fact.
So,
And we're gonna get into
but
that.
yeah, one day I came downstairs. I just couldn't sleep. Oh, that should have been one of the clues already about the tism that I can't fucking sleep, at all. And my first ever MMA fight, because he had the VHS tapes, was Paul Herrera versus Gary Goodridge. So the whole
Going way
transitions
back.
of Gary Goodridge getting Paul Herrera to the ground, it looked like King in Tekken when he like took down somebody and did ground and pound, because even in Tekken he did ground and pound, he did
He
arm
did.
bars and shit. So I'm, 5'6", little girl going like, oh my God, the shit I play, it actually has some real basis in life.
Wait,
And
people
then
actually
that
do that?
solidified me. Yeah, it solidified me as a fight fan. And I would just be sitting on my dad's lap, watching, not only just UFC, but Pride, IFL, WEC, Elite XC as I got older and stuff. So I was watching a lot. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I cried a lot when Crow Cup retired years ago. I
I
still
remember.
have his fight
Mhm.
shirt. So,
Yeah.
well, come on. Fellow Southpaws got to stick together. I want to put someone's, head in the dirt with a goddamn head kick. Just give me that chance.
How do you feel about this attempt to get anime into the mainstream? Because you also got disasters like Cowboy Bebop, which as a non-anime person,
Oh,
I thought it,
God.
yeah, exactly. So as a
Oh,
non-anime
shit.
person, I thought it was
Oh,
okay. but I know the anime community absolutely hated it. But my understanding is that One
God, we
Piece
have
is
lived
getting a
through some
decent pass.
travesties with live action. Like, I'm honestly of the mind that a lot of American studios should not touch anime. Because remember
You
that
might be right.
fucking Dragon Ball Z Revolutions movie?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a reason we don't remember it because, like, see, even Steve's like, fuck that. So, but the live action movies coming out of Japan have been killer. Like, I'm a big Rurouni Kenshin fan. So when
Okay.
Japan did a live action of the Rurouni Kenshins, I could not keep my eyes away from it. It was so well done. Now, honestly, the One Piece Netflix adaptation was not that bad to me because One Piece is over 1,000
It's
episodes
the longest
long.
running
Like,
anime in anime
God
history
bless,
for those
God
that don't
bless
know.
whoever can keep up with that shit because
Yeah.
I need a breather. Because my problem is this, and this also followed me with Bleach as well
Uh-huh.
and Naruto. If there are fillers, it'll immediately throw me off. I don't know if I got some ADHD going on too, on top of everything else, but like if there's a filler episode and like there's some serious drama going, there's like this lighthearted filler episode, it just entirely throws me off. And I'm like,
I'm with
wait,
you on
what the
that.
fuck happened again?
Regular
So
shows do
like,
that. I don't like it.
yeah, I can't do it. It's just distracting. So but I think Netflix did all right with the One Piece anime. Yeah, that Cowboy Bebop anime upset me so hard because like that's like one of the greats right there.
I think you put it as your number 2 all time, number 2 or number 3 all time on one of the interviews you
Hmm.
did. I believe you put Full Metal as your first one, right? That was your number 1,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But
I'm a big philosophical person. So in that show, they put a lot of philosophical questions like, what is the price of a human soul? You know, should, governments do this in order to save a certain population or should, so it makes the person second guess themselves. Like, for example, the whole thing around Scar, is he a villain? Is he a good guy? For a while, that viewpoint was split between him being a hero for being standing up for his people and taking the fight to those who murdered his tribesmen, and then some are saying, oh, he's a villain because he's killing all these people to do so. So I love shows, not just anime, any shows that make you sit back and question your morality and the overall good and bad of things or find the middle ground. Like, I love thought-provoking shows like that.
yeah,
So, and they were all over. Like, each character had their own demons to overcome. You had the Elric brothers, overcoming their consequences of trying to, well, play God by trying to bring their mom back. You have, Colonel Mustang, living up to the expectations, and it makes people ask about the failure of meeting expectations or the burden of trying to meet expectations and then some. So each character had their own thing to overcome, and if you're really into philosophy, if you're into all that, you'll notice that with each and every character. And it's great. Even with the homunculus, they all had their own inner demons to fight that made them the way they are. They were representations of the cardinal sins in Christianity: pride, sloth, greed, all of that. Seeing all these characters come to terms with their own failures, with their own being, it was just.
Speaking of
Like I
Godzilla,
said,
are you a fan of the MonsterVerse, Serene?
so far I'm tolerating it. Like, I did like Godzilla versus Kong a bit. I was anticipating the whole them teaming up thing.
sure.
King of the Monsters was awesome. I love King of the Monsters. That's the best film so far because it had more monsters, good plot, and I love seeing Godzilla rule overall. And then
he's the
Legacy of
hero.
Monsters was I really, really, really loved Godzilla -1. It was definitely peak cinema. I saw the regular one. I saw it when it was in black and white too. I was just so happy because don't get me wrong, I love a good heroic Godzilla because throughout the Godzilla series, there's times he was a hero, and then there's times when he, got back to the cosmic horror roots where he was just this unstoppable thing that humanity had to confront. And just seeing Studio Toho go back to its roots, the original Godzilla, make it awesome for a 21st century audience, the way they did was amazing. I loved it. So, big Godzilla fan. That won't change.
What I
Yeah,
like
I think
that we're
the MonsterVerse has worked so far.
It does have work. Like, I am a little skeptical about this Godzilla Kong, the new Empire thing. I'm really skeptical about that, honestly. So I'm really
I mean, it's
hoping
a
it'll be all right.
continuation of what they've already been doing. So we'll
I
see.
know, but like their concepts introduced.
I think you're right.
Uh,
I think this one's gonna be a money grab.
yeah, so I'm just gonna keep watching Godzilla -1 over and over again. So just to make me feel better.
With the popularity of anime right now, I mean, it's slowly been building. There was the
Yeah.
originals like yourself, and then things started to go mainstream. You had Dragon Ball, maybe was one of the first mainstream ones. You talk about
Yeah.
Sailor Moon a lot. I think
Oh
Sailor Moon
yeah.
is a great spot for
Hey,
a
look,
lot of
because the
people in
English
my
dub,
generation.
yeah, English dub Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon's name was Serena, so I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, I heard you say that. That was like one of your big kicks. But you also talked about,
Mhm.
we're going to get into this. We're going to come back to this, but you talked about the relevancy for you of a woman hero in anime. And I think that's really cool because I want to talk about women in combat sports too. But
What do
I
you think?
agree. Like, so the sport has changed a lot since when I was an amateur. It's not sports anymore, our realm. It's now unfortunately and unfortunately delved into sports entertainment. You know, like for example, for females, it's the battle of the cutest. Now, because like Roxy, I'm fucking shy to put my ass and titties out there and shit and do all that OnlyFans shit, you know? But as a result, because I don't do that kind of stuff, I don't get the followers. And because I don't have the followers, I don't get popularity. And that means I can't sell tickets. So we got all these women who put their ass and titties out there and then can't fight, and then everybody's one like, oh, women's MMA is horrible. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You guys are prioritizing, women who are putting their shit out there versus being real fighters, and you wonder why the quality sucks now. Like, it's so stupid. Like, for example, there's this girl who claimed she wanted to fight me about a year or two ago, Katarina Lehner. And I offered, she wanted to fight me at 45. I said, fine, we can be fat bantamweights and fight at 45. But then Shannon Knapp said no, which is, I get it. She didn't want two fat bantamweights fighting at a weight class above and get everyone's hopes up. Totally understand. But she's sliding in my inbox saying I'm scared. I'm like, girl, I'll fly to Denver where the fuck you are. I'll slap you in the mouth for free. Don't fuck with me like that. Like, there's one thing I can't handle, and that's an attack to my reputation. So and now she's over here clamoring she wants to fight Christine Fiera in bare knuckle boxing. Okay, first and foremost, if she's scared of me and she's making all these bullshit excuses why she ain't gonna fight me, Katsuri Lane will be eaten alive by Christine Fiera. I trained alongside her before because she used to be at Syndicate back in the day. Her work ethic, her mentality, it's on another level. Christine Fiera will absolutely destroy Laner. And then I'll laugh about it because, like, she's talking about wanting to fight people and shit. And then it's just like the fighters who want, she makes up some bullshit reason why she won't fight them. So, like, and she's over here getting all these fucking followers and shit because she's doing porn on OnlyFans. Like, legit. I wish I missed 5 months ago when I didn't know that existed, like her shit on there. But someone, like some guy friend of mine, showed me. I'm just like, dude, come on. I don't play for that team. Don't show me that shit. I don't care if other women eat box and whatever. That's fine. I love my homies. But like, I didn't need to see that shit. Like, come on. If one want to secure the bag that way, that's fine. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't be prioritizing girls putting their ass and titties out there over women who are
Well, no,
talented. But the
and
problem is with sports
you're spot
entertainment,
on. You're
yeah,
spot on.
they
We've
want
seen
the
it.
views.
We've
They
seen
want
it.
the big people.
We've seen it with not just the booking, but how they're put on the poster, the roster, the card, etc.
Yeah.
And that's what, for people who don't understand, is Serena could give a F less where you flaunt what. It's when that stuff is affecting her pay, my pay, etc.
Yeah,
She has
on
something to
God.
say, and I don't blame her. And not just for the women like you who don't mind that don't mind it, but there's also like girls that are on the fringe and they're feeling like I have to do this. So I get more sponsors. I get this. I get
I
that.
can't. I'll just bow out of the sport if it has to go to that. I just can't do it
I know. Well,
personally.
I know. Like, I don't
To
think
each to
it's
each their
going to
own if
come
they
to
do
that
it.
because I still think you have other fighters who are actual fighters that have shown like, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this is covered or this is uncovered, whatever. it's always been about the two girls throwing down. Even when Ronda was at her height and they were sexualizing her, she only let them do it to an extent, and she did it in her own way.
But she also proved to be a fighter. She wasn't just a pretty face. Misha was the same thing. But now, because we're prioritizing women who are only a pretty face and can't fight, and then everyone's like, "Oh,
I still think and Christine has falling fault to that formula that they have never built a division, and she's beating up girls that have no business being anywhere near a ring with her.
And this girl is so
tell me
cool.
why
she's like, I'll fight at 35.
Someone tell me why. I still want to know why they wanted to murder that poor girl.
She even says she'll fight Cyborg and bare knuckle boxing. Like this girl, like I'm such a Christine Fierro fan. She's so fucking cool.
Women don't get enough credit. Me and Steven were having this conversation today about how women don't get enough respect in sports, and I'd love to get into it more because you really did kind of touch on it.
I'm in such a weird spot because I train at Extreme Couture and like Strickland's there, and he's talking about women, but like he'll quarter me and when I'm like sparring, like I was sparring like years ago, and he's like, Serena, go for it. She gets real ugly when you pressure. I'm like, fuck, he's right. And as soon as I started listening, you know what? It worked. So like, and he's giving wrestling advice to the women on the mats and Coutures and everything. So it's just like, again, this goes back to the whole like, getting eyes on you so you're relevant and you build your status and you get more fights and more opportunities and shit. Like
I think he believes
half of it I think is real, and then the other parts I think he just embellishes to get the attention, the eyes on him.
But the stuff he was sitting there saying about women's MMA about 2 months ago, yeah, you're being a dick, dude.
Yeah, I can't take it seriously, especially seeing like how he helps the women in Coutures. So I'm just like, I just walk by and just say he's making women's MMA great again. He's like, oh no, don't say that, So,
Steven, you got some questions for Serena. Let's go.
I guess I'm gonna start it off. I don't know if you seen your boy Nate Diaz and DC exchanging words because I guess DC made the stupid comment of saying that Nate isn't the needle mover anymore. He isn't the main event guy anymore. And Nate had responded like, "You're not even a fighter. Why are we talking about it?" And then DC was basically, we can't compare careers. I'm like, why are we even? That's not what he was saying. That's not in the reference
measuring contest.
Your careers have absolutely nothing to sit there saying you're not a fighter, meaning like you're not a fighter anymore. You don't get to make the decision to whether if he's a needle mover, if he's a main event fighter, etc. I think when he took the fight with Conor McGregor the first time, he became a needle mover, and it wasn't because of Conor, because everyone figured out who Nate Diaz was as a man and a person, and everyone just loved who he is, and it stayed with him. He may not sit there and get 30 million guys that tune in every time, because Conor McGregor has a whole freaking nation freaking supporting him, so it's a whole different context when we're talking about this. But DC's comments about it and his backlash about it is absolutely ridiculous, and it still shows that guy skin is so soft. I love DC. He's a great analyst. He brings something to the table when he's on some of this, but sometimes when we get in these media concepts and people ask him some of these questions, his opinions, I just think we need to leave some of this stuff alone.
In a way, both things can be true. Nate is still the needle mover. He's still being able to do so. Now, granted, he doesn't have the same accolades as Daniel Cormier has, which is why he's throwing his weight around figuratively and literally, going like, yeah, I'm a better fighter than you were, because he was double champ. Yeah, he was, but being a two-weight champion is not enough nowadays. Like, you have to be now as a fighter someone they want to see, regardless of the win or loss. You have to have the eyes on you. That is what dictates fighting now. I wish it was your win-loss record. I wish it was just your accolades, but no, it's about how the fans perceive you. Do they want to watch you? And why? Like, Nate has always had this never die attitude. Like, win or lose, I'm going to go in there and fucking scrap, which is, I idolize him for that. That's the shit I want to do. Like, win or lose, no matter, like, no matter how damaged I get, I always come forward. I always start
Got
swinging.
that
It's like, look,
Stockton attitude that is literally like the Spartan mentality. I come back on
it's
my
like you
shield.
have to
I come
fucking
back
kill
with my
me.
shielder on it, right?
You have to render me unconscious to stop me. That's it. And shout out to Roxy. She's actually coming out, even though she's Captain Preggers right now. She's coming out to corner me for this fight, even though she's not involved in the fight life anymore. You know, she did her time, you know, legend in her own right. And she's like, you know, I want to come down and corner you for this fight. I'm like, so that's friendship. Find you somebody who's been your best friend for a decade. Like, I'm actually the same age now that Roxy met me when I was like a scrappy 21-year-old. So
Wow.
finding a friendship that long nowadays, I don't think I don't think you can find that now. Back
So-
then it was so hard because women fighting just like started really to get popular, and then finding amateurs to fight my weight was hard. There wasn't that many who were A, willing to fight, and two, you know, they're just as amateurs, you know, there not many would travel for obvious reasons because the cost of being an amateur fighter all falls on you. And I was thinking my original plan was to be the scariest bitch in Muay Thai, then go to MMA. But after just 2 Muay Thai fights, you know, I had a really hard time finding more opponents in the surrounding states. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I got my blue belt. I'm going to go do this. Let's see how it goes. And then I ended up choking out somebody who, if memory serves me correct, was actually a jujitsu instructor at one of the gyms, at the gym she was training out of. So it's like, oh shit, okay. I choked her out. Thanks, Rox. Because prior to that fight, I actually took what I call a traincation out to Vegas because the year prior in 2013, you know, college is out, whatever. I took a traincation in Thailand for a month, you know, because I was really, really, really wanted to going into Muay Thai, and it shows in
Sure.
my fighting style a lot. But most of the girls would be only in MMA. So I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it. We're going to go to MMA. And then I took a traincation in 2014 to Vegas because I was originally planning to go to Thailand again, but there are political riots. And I'm like, I ain't going halfway across the world by myself and the fucking military's fighting the civilians. I ain't in that shit. All right, bye, everybody. So, and at that time, Roxy was, I was a fan of hers, been a fan of hers since I was in middle school watching her fight for like, you know, femme fatales and all that, just on YouTube and shit. Because she was one of the first people to really embrace her nerdiness within MMA. Because like people don't know Josh Barnett is into D&D and he's done Dungeon Master stints. You look at Josh Barnett, you would never fucking think he'd be into that shit.
I don't
And
judge
but
anybody.
yeah, I
Because
know, but like
because of stuff like
look
that.
at MMA fans, especially lately.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, they're better with anime now and nerd shit. But like back then, they were a different breed. So, but Roxy
Probably
was
fair.
never afraid to be Roxy, you know, no matter what, and it just endeared her more to me. So, of course, when she finally got out of Japan, she came back to the States. You know, I was so excited. I just said, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna send her a message asking. The worst thing she's gonna say is no because Roxy's just so pure. To this day, she has not cursed, she has not smoked, she's not drank. Name me anybody who does that shit. Especially, she's 41 years old. Like you can't name me
I'm
a
off the
damn
list.
single person. Yeah. So I knew the worst thing she was going to say is no, thank you. And I asked her, hey, can I train with you over at your gym? And according to her, I was the only. There's a lot of people who asked her, but I'm the only one who actually showed the fuck up. And we just bonded over our love of anime, but it was so hilarious. This zen, calm grappler, you know, who's a little seasoned and everything, taking on this scrappy, you know, young gun striker who's still to this day very much blood for the blood god. You know, thanks to Roxy though, I'd like to think I have some competency in takedown defense and dealing with grapplers, you know, overall. Because I remember the first times I was working with her, if I wasn't punching her, she would do something to get me airborne. I'm just feeling myself in the air going and slow and go like, God damn it, before I hit the floor, fighting for my life. So, and it was great because we really did build off each other. She learned how to deal with southpaws because of me. I learned how to be a better grappler defensively and offensively because of her. And she'd like, even to this day, like I said, she's always been in my corner. She's always looked after me. You know, she's always wanted me to be a part of her life. And it means a lot. So I'm really blessed she's there. And I'm also blessed to have Alexa Connors and her homie Shannon rolling up to help me out as well, which is actually funny because my opponent's last opponent was Alexa Connors. And my opponent was actually asking Alexa Connors to corner her against me. So
Oh,
Alexa's
wow.
like, sorry, homie. Serena's been my dudette for 6 years now. So
She's like, I want
doing
to
a little bit of psychological warfare.
If you're gonna talk it, you better back it up. And this girl right here, ladies and gentlemen, you know she backs it up. Look, she hits people in the face and they fall down. She hits people in the face and she gets her hand raised. I mean, that's what this girl is all about. Smack him in the face, raise my hand. Smack him in the face. So
And
you
look,
can raise my
I've let myself kind of talk to my opponents a bit more than often. Like I remember like, oh no, I gotta be well behaved. I'm like, now fuck this. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be authentic. And if it's me talking to people in the middle of the fight, like fucking with their head a little bit and just saying how I feel, then fuck it. What are they gonna do? We're already in the middle of the fight. What are they gonna do? Confront me afterwards? Cool. I can add an unsanctioned bout to my record. Wouldn't be the first fucking time. So well, when you're the white girl in the barrio in Philadelphia, you learn very fast on how to fight. Let's just put it that way.
There you go.
Lauren was great. She was a great boxer and everything, and she pissed me off. That's why in that exchange of the first round, you could see me getting really mad at her just going in and out. I'm like, all right, bitch, watch it. Boom. Like I was ready to eat her punch too. And I just came in and I dropped her. I'm like, oh shit, come here. And then, I don't think she knew, but when she was punching me from the bottom, she was hitting me in the back of the head. It was pissing me off even further. So I'm shouting at her, you think that face is me? And she's looking at me like I'm insane, which, I kind of am being
why are you yelling at me? We're in a fight right now. Like fighters don't yell at each other, but you do it all the time. You talk about it. You do it all the time.
I talk like Liz Phillips. I was talking so much shit to her because, dude, my mom is like, my parents are my biggest supporters, and my mom was out there for the fight. She's like, being a mom, taking pictures, loving her kid and everything. And she came backstage before my fight, before the fight started, the venue and all that. She said, "You better whoop her ass," because she was being mean to me. She was giving me dirty looks and rolling her eyes at me like she fucking what. And so I just came in that fight ready to fucking kill her just on my mom's behalf. And what made it even worse is that her cornerman was the cornerman of a woman I fought my pro debut who tried to get my win overturned because she made up some bullshit about the fight promotion fucked with the clock timing and shit like that. And he was trying to see what the judges, like why the judges scored the fight in my favor, even though his fighter was backing up the entire fucking time.
I read about that.
And so he's like over here shouting like, Liz, she's tired. I'm punching Liz in the face. I'm like, am I tired, Liz? Am I tired? And then he's like telling Liz to shoot a takedown. I'm like, do it. I got something for you. Because I like need her in the face a few times already. I was praying she took that shot because I was just going to jump me in her face and end her fucking life if I had to. But to her credit, Liz is like a fucking zombie. I snap kicked her like Lyoto Machida style to Vitor in the face like multiple times. And she just, no lie, landed a 10-punch combination on her and she did not fucking die. Like I got some knuckles, but I couldn't see any of my knuckles after the fight because they were swollen. I hit her so much, so hard, so often, she did not fucking die. And Liz, she was just like a fucking, not Liz, Lauren was just a fast little thing, annoying the shit out of me. She got some good licks in and everything, but I was just like, nah, you're not taking this shit from me. Even I'm showing up on 3 weeks, like, you made me cut my hair, fuck you. She's a nice girl, but in that fight, I'm not me. Like, as soon as I hit that sauna, it's the transformation from to Godzilla, essentially. Godzilla got hit with that atomic bomb, and that's why he wants to stomp all over people in Tokyo and shit. You put me in that sauna, you've now pissed me the fuck off.
It's just a happy lizard on my happy little fucking island, and now you fucking make me do this shit. So, well, let's keep Serena fired up because that's what I like to see. I like to see this fired up Serena because, look, as you guys are watching this, she is hours away from her fight. It is Friday night. Cage Fury Fighting Championships. It's on UFC Fight Pass. You can see Serena get in there, whoop ass in Tampa Bay, Florida.
I'm already pissed off, because like I haven't had food. Like, look, this girl's taking time for me away from playing Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm already mad at her for this shit. On top of like, taking the win from a good friend of mine. So like, yeah, I got some shit to pick with her. So I guess it's rage. I guess it's, I have a goal to focus on, And then the other thing is Liz Schroeder did not get that fucking win over Alexa. Like Alexa's a flyweight, and she came up on like what 2-3 weeks notice to fight Liz, and the judges in North Dakota, whatever fucking Dakota they were fucking stupid, and they gifted the wrong person the decision. So in my eyes, Liz took something from a sister of mine. I'm gonna get that shit back one way or another. Once I run through Liz and punch her face in, I want to fight for a title fight back home in Philadelphia.
I love that. I love that. Like, I got a little attitude going into this one, a little chip on the shoulder. I love it. Serena DeJesus, Elizabeth Schroeder. It happens tomorrow. What will be tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you will have already been in the sauna. The switch will already have been flipped. And it's all business by the time this airs, which is why I'm glad that we did this interview beforehand, because I know, as you said, when you step in that sauna tomorrow, it's game over. There's no more interviews. There's no more talking except talking shit about how you're going to bust someone's face in. Serena, thank you so much for coming on the show. Steven, thank you for
worries. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck tomorrow night against Elizabeth Schroeder. And again, you know, I'm in your corner, and I see why everybody else is as well. Thank you so much for just being you and being a fantastic person along being such a talented fighter. It's really just been an honor to have you on the show. We like to finish up with something that Steve invented on his own.
Okay.
He actually thought of something all by himself and came up with it, and it's smart too. It's called the guest spotlight.
Come on now.
Hey, every once in a while, flip a coin. We call it the guest spotlight, Serena, and we let the guest finish up however you want. I always say, you know, you can tell us a story, you can give us your favorite anecdote, you can, you know, flaunt the socials, whatever you want to do, end the interview the way you want to. It's tonight, guest spotlight with Serena DeJesus.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for following me in my fight career. If you want to follow me for like the shit posting I do online when I'm not busting someone's head in, follow me on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's called now. Instagram at Serena Southpaw. Also, you know, thank you for rooting for me. And also big thanks to all my sponsors. We got the Culver Family Trust. We got combatsportslaw.com. We got Fit Meals for You, Las Vegas. We got My Consumer IT, Houston. Oh, big supporters, big fans. Southern Precision Tooling for making the best, you know, fun stuff on the planet. You know, if you don't know what I mean, go check them out. You'll see what I mean, because it's fun stuff for me. It could be fun stuff for you too. But yeah, just seriously, thanks to everybody who supported me in my journey. It's been a long 10 years from me just being a little Ami fighter, just trying to scrape out a little existence and make some sense in life, to now fighting on the big shows I've always wanted to be and just continuing my climb to the top. So have fun, join up with me. And if you guys play on Steam, let a girl know, because I want a multiplayer party for Baldur's Gate 3. So always the nerd shit. So God bless.
I love it. It's not nerd shit. Nerd shit's cool now. Come on. I mean, really, honestly, nerd shit is cool now.
I mean,
really
part of it feels like it's cultural appropriation with the anime now being popular, because like I remember being in like middle school and high school being made fun of, like, oh, you like anime? Now everyone's all in the anime shit. I'm like, oh, you fucking posers. But you know, I love everybody. If you're all new into anime and you're cool with it, come on down.
Let's be honest. Comic book movies made nerds cool.
Yes, they did.
Helped. It definitely helped. You guys are cool because you're watching Want to Fight About It right here. And if follow us, subscribe to us, but definitely go over and follow Serena. Watch her fight tomorrow night. Again, it is on the UFC Fight Pass on the CFFC. You can watch it live. I'll be watching. I know Steven's already got his subscription hammered out. He's ready to watch. He's got it set to record. You guys, thank you so much for watching the show. Thank you for supporting us. One last time, the Southpaw Outlaw, Serena DeJesus, fights tomorrow night, CFFC against Elizabeth Schroeder. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of Serena, Steven, I'm Chris Fox. This was Want to Fight About It. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Everybody be safe out there. Have a great one. I want to know about the story because Steve admires you so much, and Steve talks so highly of you and stuff. And I'm like, I know who you are as a fighter, but I want to know the person. I want to know this is why we talk about the awesome. This is why we talk about the anime. This is the video games. I know that you chose Star Wars over Star Trek. I mean, I want to know about the person who's stepping in the ring, and we're getting that right now on this show.
About to smash. That's what you need to know.
That's what we're seeing is we are getting Serena. This is who Serena is. She's not just the person you see on TV. She's about the attitude. She will walk the walk. She will talk the talk. She's caring. She's got a heart. She's about the kids. She's got a cause. She's focused, and she's ready to whoop your ass just because she wants to, just because you looked at her funny too. So like, go ahead, if you want it, she'll bring it. She can flip. She's got a switch and she'll flip it. And I love to see this side of you. I like to see the entire picture, not just the person in the ring, because you're more than that.
Yeah. So the fun story about my hair. So during COVID, I got to fight and everything. So I fought in early 2021 in a cowboy bar called Cotton Eye Joe's in Nashville, Tennessee. Awesome time. Co-main event, had a 30-26 fight. I was actually at that point, I was actually feeling bad for hitting my opponent because she couldn't answer back. I split her open, had her bleeding everywhere in the first round. I'm just looking at the ref like, are you going to fucking stop this shit? Like, I didn't know why they're letting it continue. I was actually starting to feel sad a little bit while hitting her. And then after the fight, there was the main event. The guys didn't like each other. So one wound up to try and hit the other one, ended up hitting, I think, if memory serves me correct, the other guy's girlfriend. And like the whole fucking bar had like this giant brawl happen. And so I'm trying to help this barkeep shut the door because the fucking brawl is spilling outside. It is a literal dog pile. Everyone just fucking beating each other up. And I'm trying to help her close the door and all. And then I thought it was a kid, right? Or a teenager, like came up, like, just under my, little under my shoulders, like to my bicep level, came trying to get through. I'm like, no, kid, don't go out there. It's dangerous. The motherfucker shoved me. It was a little person and said, I'm not a kid. And then I took off my hat and I had my hair still long and cornrowed at the time. So she kind of put two and two together that who I was and promptly left. And then I saw the sheriff rolling down. So my coach at the time, he's like the only black guy in the bar. So my mom laces one arm, I lace the other arm. We're walking right the fuck out of there, just in case. But then later on that summer, I got an offer to fight in Montana against Liz Phillips, who I remember watching on TEF 18 alongside Roxy. So I'm like, oh shit, it's a UFC veteran. Oh shit, let's go. And I had to cut my hair from where it was to about a bob, because it did get lower while I lived in Vegas. It didn't go to elbow length anymore. It went about to like just past my shoulders because the water's shit in Vegas. It's I guess all the dead bodies and the bones and Lake Mead makes the water hard. I don't know, maybe. So then I cut my hair to this length as it is right now. And I made weight and everything. And then I'm thinking, because I average about 2 fights a year or so, because it's so fucking hard to have somebody fight me. And then I literally got a fight 3 weeks after I just beat Liz Phillips, and it was against Laura Mueller. And I'm like, oh, fuck, we got to lose all this weight again. We got to get right back in camp. All right, fine, fuck it. Because I wanted to be a company woman for Invicta. I wanted to, show I'm really dedicated. So we get there, but the problem is during COVID, we couldn't go into normal saunas because of the restrictions. So I'm looking like, the Netflix adaptation of The Brave Little Toaster and the fucking portable saunas trying to cut weight. But again, this goes back to my shitty math skills. So in a traditional sauna, I'm cooking at 170. Just make it quick. Get me the fuck out of there. I'll be like lean jerky. That's whatever. But and the portable saunas, they only got to about 140. So I'm the last fighter to go on the scales. I have a minute to make weight, and I'm 4 ounces over. So I told my mom to cut my hair. I was ready to go full Thug Rose if I had to make that weight. But thankfully, I just got that cute Holly Berry, pixie cut, and I made weight.
There you
I
go.
made it. 4 ounces
Do what
gone.
you gotta
Just
do.
like that. Yeah, because look, hair grows back, glory's forever. So
Damn
cut the
straight.
hair, made the weight, and then just, went to town.